you guys, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be talking about my top 5 authors of 2020. I know 2020 is not particularly done yet, so like I can't say that they're my top 5 of 2020 because there are still a couple authors who might make that list, but I'm impatient and I'm going to forget my top 5 in like 2 minutes. So some of these authors are new to me, some of them are not so new to me because I read some of their works last year, but because of unforeseen reasons, they have since redeemed themselves in the eyes of this particular reader. So let's get into it. The first author that I have is actually a new to me author, and that is a manga author, and that is Haruichi Furudate. But they are the writer and the artist, I believe, of Haikyuu, which is one of my favorite animes and mangas of all time. Now, I didn't start off reading the first volume because I started watching the anime around the beginning of quarantine, and then my friend and I watched the season 3, and then she sent me the links to the manga for the remainder of the series, which I have since finished. I love this manga. I love this anime. It's so good. I probably will be adding some of my favorite mangas on my shelf, if not having prints of it somewhere, because it's just that good. I think that for being like a sports anime, very slice of life, we only literally see like this 1 year of them playing. It's really good. We have really developed characters, from the minor characters to the major characters. Even for people you would hate, you actually end up falling really in love with by the end of the match that you have. We see great, amazing character growth by the end of the series, and like everything is just, it's just so good. And I need more people to watch this anime. The soundtrack is amazing. Am I caught up with the anime? No, but that's because I have permanent issues and I don't want things to end. So if I don't finish the anime quite yet, then it never ended, right? But the ending, I literally have never cried so much just watching an anime and then sobbing reading the manga. I think the first time, yeah, I finished the manga when I first slept over at my partner's house, and he woke up to me sobbing as I finished up the manga, and it was just so good. There are so many things that tie back together, and I highly recommend this author if you're into mangas, and highly recommend the anime because the soundtrack is like, they're such a great writer, and I'm so happy that my friend recommended this anime to me and the manga to me. And if Ethel's watching this, she's gonna probably text me in a little bit or whenever she watches this and be like, ha, I told you so, bitch. But the next author is Ben Alderson, who is the author of The next author is Ben Alderson, and that is the author of the Dragori series. Now, if you guys don't know, where have you been on the channel? The Dragori series was literally all that I read and raved about for like the first 3 months of the year. I buddy read this with my friends Maddie and TB, and it's Maddie's favorite series of all time. So like TB and I were like, why don't we just, read it and then start off 2020 right with Gay Dragon. Now, Dragori is like, if you guys haven't heard, it's basically about this shapeshifter who is kind of forced to enlist in the king's army as an attempt to not draw attention on himself, because he's not a regular shapeshifter. He ends up drawing the attention of the prince, Hadrian, and things go from there. I really love this series. I think it's such an amazing, well-written debut series for someone, and it's LGBT. We have a lot of LGBT rep in this book, and the author themselves is part of the community, so you can also add that to your repertoire of books. I highly recommend the series, highly recommend the author, and I can't wait for Ben Alderson to come out with more books because like I need it. And this is such an underhyped self-pub series, so like go. Just go get it and then come back to me and we can discuss how great this series is, because it is like top tier. And I think the only thing that TB and I need to read is the short story. Like it was so good, and I highly recommend it. So please go and read it. And if you guys need more push, I will leave my reviews and my book of the weeks for these books down below, so in case y'all needed that little bit of like a push to read the series and pick up this author, highly recommend. The next author kind of redeemed herself in 2020. My friends and I read through the series, most of us through the first time, some of us through the second time, to prepare for the TV show that's supposed to come out soonish. When that is, I don't know. But that is Leigh Bardugo. She is the author of Shadow and Bone, Six of Crows, King of Scars, Ninth House, Wonder Woman Warbringer, and I think that's it. If you guys don't know, I did buddy read this series, the first trilogy, again, with my friends, and I did not like it. Unsurprisingly, I did not like it. I thought while the writing was okay, the characters were bleh, didn't like the love triangles in it, the several love triangles. It became like a love square. That's kind of what happened here. It became a love square, and then things diluted, and if there was kind of a I don't ever say, no, it was a disappointing ending. It was just disappointing. It was not what I wanted. It was not what I expected. It was kind of like a really cop-out way to write this character. Case in point. However, her second series, her spin-off series, which is Six of Crows, really redeemed her for me. I ended up really loving these books and flying through them. I will leave also my vlogs for, I believe, those books down below. And King of Scars also revived it for me. I think she does a wonderful job writing in third-person prose. I think she's amazing in creating now complex characters that are more than just their love interests and their stories. And we have layers upon layers to them that we can really just enjoy. The plot keeps you on your toes and you just want to keep reading more. And it's very palatable for high fantasy. It reads more new adult than it does young adult, because I believe she transitions into more adult writing, because Ninth House is an adult novel. So I highly recommend the books. And if you guys haven't picked it up, where are you? You probably don't need to pick up the first set of 3, because that is a mess. But Six of Crows and King of Scars you can definitely pick up on your own. Just throwing that out there. The next author is another one that has redeemed herself for me, and that was Renee Ahdieh. If you guys are long-time subscribers, you know that I read Flame in the Mist as my first introduction to her, and I didn't like it primarily because of the characters and not so much the prose and the plot. A little bit of the plot. So I was really hesitant to pick this up, but I picked it up on a friend's recommendation because we got Vampires in New Orleans, which is all that I need. And then we also have POC characters, and I believe some LGBT characters are in there as well. Renee Ahdieh really redeemed herself for me with The Beautiful. I think that she writes this really nice, well, prose for mystery. She has a really flowery kind of prose, which if you guys don't like that, don't read it. But I think that she has grown since Flame in the Mist, and her flowery kind of descriptive prose kind of helps me get a feel for what's going on without actually losing out on the imagination that my brain can give me to have this wonderful story. Highly recommend. And the plot twist for at least The Beautiful, absolutely wonderful. And I'm sure anyone else who's been a long-time fan of Renee Ahdieh can attest that she's a magnificent writer, and also she's a POC author, which I feel like we need more of, so go check her out. See, this is where I'm gonna get a little bit I don't know what to put in this scenario, because I'm not sure what's other. Did I really read that in 2020? Oh my god, that feels like a lifetime ago. The last author that I'm gonna add to this list is Katie Henry. She wrote The Heretics Anonymous, which is a comedy book, what's the word I'm looking for? Comedy. A comedic coming of age for a young boy who has since transferred into a Catholic school after moving several times, and he himself is an atheist. He there finds himself meeting with these groups of people who don't fit into the Catholic mold. This was actually a really funny book. I love Katie Henry's comedic timing. I think it works out really well, as well as her ability to create these characters that are just absolutely precious and lovely, and I want to protect all of them. Highly recommend her as an author, and I don't know if she's released anything recently, but if she has, I will be the first to read it, because this was a masterpiece, and I hit myself upside the head for having taken so long to read this book. Oh my goodness, I've had this on my radar for years, and it's literally taken me this long to pick this up. Come on, Therese, be better. Be better. Now, would this be a Therese video, a top 5, top 10 Therese video if we didn't include honorable mentions? An honorable mention that I'm going to throw up here on the first bit is Kelsey Quick. She is the author of Vampires of Avignon, Violet Fire? Yes. Violet Fire, Vampires of Avignon #1. It is a paranormal vampire romance, and we all know how much trash I am for paranormal vampire romances, so this is no surprise that she is on here. She does a wonderful job creating a world and setting the scene. She also creates this interesting plot point for the vampires that we don't see very often in paranormal romances, particularly with the idea that we are just nothing but blood bags to them. Unrelated side note, if you are looking for a similar plot to A Violet Fire, highly recommend reading / watching Seraph of the End, which is a manga and an anime. Both similar plot idea in terms of we're literally just human blood bags and breeding bags to them, so keep that in mind. Highly recommend this book, and to boot, she also liked my review on Goodreads, so let's just take a moment to saturate ourselves in my ability to string words together and have authors actually enjoy what I'm saying. The next honorable mention is Cassandra Montag. I believe her debut novel was the first one that I read, and that is After the Flood. This came highly recommended to me from Jessie from Bowties and Books. This is a post-apocalyptic world, and I highly recommend it, highly recommend it. She does a wonderful job of not only setting the scene, but creating this really kind of almost destructive world that's trying to piece itself back together after it's literally just been decimated with water. I love the relationships that she created, as well as the internal struggle of having to choose between your children. She's a marvelous author, and I can't wait to see what else she comes out with in the future, or if she has previously released books in the past. We'll be picking up those, because this is a freaking masterpiece, and I will literally never stop talking about it until she releases something else. So if that doesn't tell you, go read the book, enjoy it, love it like I do, and we can come back and discuss, because y'all know where my social media links are. I guess that is all my honorable mentions for 2020. But I'm sure that next year some of these books or authors I did not mention in the last 2 weeks of December will somehow make their way into 2021. So, but that is it for this video. Please let me know what you guys have thought so far, or your guys' thoughts on the authors that I chose. Do you guys agree with my decisions from putting them in top 5? Who are your top 5 authors of 2020? It can be either new to you, someone that you loved and have recently reread a book from, etc, etc, etc. Hit like, subscribe, comment, and then all my other videos will be linked down below for you guys, or the videos, the vlogs and the reviews will be linked down below for you guys, as well as my social media links. So if you guys want to continue chatting about these books that you guys have picked up in the future, y'all know where to find me. But until next time, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!